Good evening, everyone. Grab a seat. Grab a seat. Perfect. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another round of senior talks for CLC. I'm so excited for tonight. Couple quick things just to keep you aware. Obviously, we are live streaming this, so if you do ask questions, provide feedback, make sure you speak up so that they can hear you on the live stream. You don't need to scream, but just be aware. And then we'll go through the night. We'll still have kind of that limited time, 15 minutes for each speaker, and that'll include some of that Q&A time. So I might have to be one more question, but then we can always love on people after the fact. Sound great? We're not going to do announcements tonight just for the sake of time, but everything you need to know is in the What's Up for this week. Next week is our last seminar of the year, which is crazy. You guys are wonderful. We did it. Woohoo! And the next week we'll go till 8:30. So you all have time just to be together and say goodbye and all that sweet, sad, wonderful stuff. Wonderful. Well, I am going to hand it over to our first speaker of the night, Maddie Harris. The clicker is right there.
Hi, everybody. Alrighty. Hi. So, welcome to your Wednesday evening, and thank you for being with me here tonight. Since the moment in the Daniels K-12 room, I found out 4 years ago that CLC Senior Talks were a thing, I started writing my presentation. And after a year, I've added little by little and gotten to where we are today. So, this presentation is titled Things for My Younger Self, and this picture here is me doing one of my favorite things in the world, reading at the reservoir. So, full disclosure, this isn't exactly a traditional senior talk. It's probably going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, so bear with me. All right. I'll be sharing pieces of my life and leadership journey with y'all tonight through personal stories, lessons learned, and things I wish I could have known earlier in my life. The history major in me really wants to make sure this talk is chronological, but the spaz in me knows that's not going to happen, so buckle up, y'all. There's going to be some tangents, and I'll try and streamline it. So let's begin. I really think my leadership journey began with my brothers. Oldest siblings have a distinct role in and of themselves, but I've had the unique honor and privilege of being a caretaker for my youngest brother, Jackson. Jackson has autism, hypotonia, complex partial seizure syndrome, and a couple other intellectual and physical disabilities. For the last 16 years, I've been able to help bathe, clothe, feed, medicate, calm, and love him alongside my family. My freshman year in college, I had the chance to reflect upon my relationship with my brother. I remember it pretty clearly. It was one of the first times I got to sit down and talk about Simon Sinek's leadership book called Find Your Why. After careful deliberation and some deep introspection, I came to the realization that my sweet little red-headed buddy is my why. He's my inspiration, my purpose, my passion, and my reason to be the best version of myself. From him, I've learned patience, the power of inclusivity, resiliency, and kindness. That said, I've spent most of my life being a caretaker, and sometimes I forgot to take care of myself. To tie this back to leadership, try not to let yourself get burnt out. I know this is easier said than done, but there's something to be said about trusting your team, dividing up the work, and relying on each other. It takes a village, and you're truly not in this alone. So this piece is pretty self-explanatory. I'm thankful to have many wonderful humans in my life, like Jess, John, Ashlyn, and Amandine, who are fantastic mentors and friends. The moral of this slide is this: get people that can call you out. I found that the people who truly love you not only give great advice, but they're not afraid to put you in your place. And it may suck in the moment, but I really think you'll thank yourself for it later. Okay, so fun fact about me, y'all, if you don't know this already, I am an absolute clown. I put this slide in here not only as something I want to share with y'all, but a great piece of advice for myself. Don't take life too seriously. Stop worrying, just let go, and everything's going to work out eventually one way or another. If you're going to laugh about it at some point in your life, you might as well start now. All right, so this is one of the easiest yet hardest messages for me to hammer into my head. If you don't tell anyone, no one will know. It's really easy to fly under the radar and escape, but there's truly layers of this advice. People can't read your mind. If something is wrong or bothering you, speak up. I'm thinking about all the times in the past that I could have saved myself that much of a headache if I would have just been honest about what I was going through and what I was feeling. But that said, there's another side to this advice. Share your victories with your humans. Now, this one I'm relatively bad at. No one wants to feel like a show-off by any means, but if you don't tell your people about all the good things happening to you, who's going to know? Granted, this is especially hard in this virtual online era, but send a quick text if you have something to celebrate. Tell them about your job offer, that you bought a car, your internship, your publication, your award, whatever. Just tell them. I guarantee you that your friends want to know and celebrate with you. Life is meant to be experienced together, y'all. Alrighty. If I could tell my younger self one thing, it's this. There are no set rules for life. Everyone is on their own path and timeline, so stop making arbitrary choices for yourself and then stressing out if they don't happen. And when I say no rules, I really mean read the teen book, have the same breakfast every single day of your life, play that one obscure French-German song 77 times in a row. It does not matter. You're never too old to love something, so you might as well just do what makes you happy. And on a similar note, don't let others shame you for your passions and joys, and never let anyone tell you how you're supposed to feel. Really, truly, only you know that. So these are my best friends who do not guilt trip me for any reason. I love these humans so much. They truly hold pieces of me that I wouldn't share with anyone else. They've taught me how to laugh, relax, and be adventurous. There's a saying that friends become your chosen family, and I really believe that. I'm thankful for them every single day of my life and that they've allowed me to be a part of theirs. Kira, Lex, Alex, Shan, and Livy, I love you all. All right. This is one of my favorite quotes and something I really try to embody every single day. You know, just sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, just 20 seconds of embarrassing bravery, and I promise you something great will come of it. Now, 20 seconds of insane courage can be a lot of little things. Answer the question that everyone's too scared to get potentially wrong in class, run for a leadership position, submit the application, call someone out when they're in the wrong, even if it's yourself, sit in the front row, really no one cares. I just encourage you to be brave. So I'm gonna take probably 20 seconds of courage for my next story. I'll heed my own advice. All right. Here's some lovely pictures of me in 7th grade. I've always been a wannabe overachiever type, so of course back then I was, playing softball, soccer, running track, basketball, and cheer, and then you can see the lovely basketball and cheerleading pictures here. So of course, to complete the 7th grade cheerleader stereotype, I had my little football player boyfriend. I remember this one day clearly. I had just gotten out of student government, and he was waiting for me outside class before we went to our respective practices. As we wrapped up our conversation, he gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. Harmless, right? No, this sent me into an absolute panic. See, I was 12 at the time, and I had no idea how babies were made, and I was now convinced that I was now pregnant from that kiss on the cheek outside my 7th grade class. I mean, y'all, guys, you thought teen pregnancy was bad? How do you think preteen pregnancy was going to go? I was imagining writing this letter to my middle school basketball coach, explaining to him how I couldn't play that season because I was sure the baby would be due any day now. Anyhow, I told my friend at cheer practice what had happened, and she tried to calm me down. I asked her if she knew how babies were made, and of course, when I was due, she said that everything was going to be okay, to trust her, and that she had a movie to show me that would clear things up. So I made plans to spend the night at her house. So, see, her parents were a lot less strict than mine, y'all. So at the ripe old age of 12, I had a lovely time sitting through the movie Friends with Benefits, featuring Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis. All right, yeah, I know. Clearly, this movie was inappropriate for my age range at the time, but once again, I didn't care because I made two very important revelations that night. One, I was not, in fact, pregnant, which was a huge relief. Two, after the movie, my friend commented something along the lines of, "Isn't Justin Timberlake so cute?" Panic aside, I just kind of remember sitting there thinking, and ma'am, are we watching the same movie? Mila Kunis is right there. At this point, I should have known I was a lesbian if my middle school boyfriend kissing me on the cheek gave me a panic attack and that I was clearly crushing on Mila. So to tie this back to my lesson, these things take time. I don't think there's ever going to be a point in anyone's life where we have our identities all figured out. And really, that's okay. In leadership, we're committed to being lifelong learners, which also extends to being lifelong learners about ourselves. This has been a long process for me, and I only came out to my family last year. And for some of y'all, this is probably the first time hearing it. My queer identity is a huge part of who I am. It shapes the way I view and interact in the world. It's how I read books, consume media, and how I approach life in general alongside leadership. It's caused me a decent amount of pain, these past 10 years, but it's really also one of the things that I love most about myself. I'm thankful for all the humans that have showed me love as I share little pieces of myself with them, especially something as big as this. That said, it's taken me a lot of time to get to where I'm at. I've hit some insane highs and lows, but I'm really proud of where I am today. When I was 17, playing high school basketball, and when I needed it the most, one of my really good friends gave me this bracelet from an organization called To Write Love on Her Arms, and the acronym is TWOLA. You can see it up there. TWOLA is a nonprofit dedicated to preserving hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, anxiety, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. The message is pretty simple. No one else can play your part. I truly believe that. Each and every one of you is so valued, loved, and needed exactly how you are. You have a place in this crazy jigsaw puzzle of a world, and I'm so glad I get to experience it alongside you. And think about it, you've yet to meet all the people that will one day love you. Please hold on to that. All right, I will leave you all with this quote tonight. You have to be willing to get happy about nothing. I found this back in 7th grade, and I really think it changed my outlook for the better. It's the first step in living a better life. When you're willing to get happy about absolutely nothing, you really start to savor the small, delicate, and unexpected moments in life. I've been really focusing on centering myself in a state of gratitude and to slow down and appreciate where I'm at. Now, with that in mind, savor the little moments, be thankful for all that you have, take some time for yourself, be brave. The world gives you a dozen little things to get happy about every single day. The real question is, when will you let yourself get happy about them? Well, UCCS and CLC have given me some of the most incredible opportunities to grow as a person and a leader. I am beyond fortunate to be a part of so many incredible programs and met so many wonderful humans, like yourself, that I wish I could have known earlier in my life. Thank you all. Thanks, Borg. Love you. See you at home.
Yeah, you were just such a genuine person. I can't think of one time where I was going through something that I didn't see a text from you or a message from you on Instagram or something that even though you had everything going on in your own life that you took the time to reach out to someone who was also going through something, and I will never forget how genuine and humble you are.
Thanks, I do.
I feel everything that has going and you just share so much love with everyone, and you deserve all the love in the world. You are such an amazing human being, you've been such an amazing friend. These last 4 years, I'll never forget these last 4 years that we got to spend together. And I'm so proud of you. I know you're going to do amazing. No matter what you choose to do, you're going to do amazing at it.
Thanks, Sarah. We're good? Oh, Ronan.
Yeah, everything they said, United, you're badass. I try to be like you every single day, do more, be more, love more. So, just appreciate you, be yourself.
Thanks, man. One day. Thanks, Emily. All right, now am I good? Okay, hello, my wonderful CLC family. I'm gonna try really hard not to have like a panic attack on stage. I've been doing my box breathing during Maddie's presentation, so everything should be good. Before we get started, I'd like you all to turn around and face the camera. We have CLC alumni Jessica Benish tuning in, so say hi, Jess. And then we also have my wonderful family tuning in, so turn around and say hello, family. Yes, thank you. Okay, guys, so this is a little set of lessons that I prepared to teach you. Can everyone hear me? First of all, let me not can I? Whew, okay, I'm still so naked. So this is just an accumulation of lessons that I've learned from different objects, creatures, concepts, whatever else, and you'll see what I mean as I get going. So I want to start off by saying I have some bad news for you guys. Is that we are all weird. All of us are weird. You may be thinking, Emily, I'm not weird. You're weird. And while you're right, I don't think being weird has to be considered a bad thing. You know, everyone has their own unique perspective that they bring. And let me provide you a couple of examples. So, you see some geese on the screen? You're probably like, Emily, why are there geese on the screen? I'm gonna tell you why there's geese on the screen. So, what do geese do? They just hang out, fly, peck at the ground, poop on people, do whatever. And they're just gonna keep being geese. They don't care what anyone has to say about it, what anyone else has to think about it. However, what the goose considers completely normal is super freaking weird in the opinion of the fish, right? What do fish do? They just swim and they just inhale water. They don't fly, they don't nest, they don't do any of that. But the fish doesn't care what the opinion of the goose is. They're gonna keep being what they are. And I want you to take that same perspective into your own life. Why should you look down upon yourself because you have different interests, different likes, different passions? Continue being who you are and like what you like and laugh at what you laugh at. So that's the first lesson. Lesson 2. This is a beautiful picture I took whenever I went and did a service trip on Catalina Island. Wonderful, beautiful, the natural succulents. And this meme right here embodies me completely. Like, if I went to a painter and told them to paint me, this is what they would create. Because I don't know about you guys, like the last 4 years, yes, but like this last year especially, this is how I've been feeling, like this stick figure man with scribbles in his brain, doing everything from my bedroom. And so I'm gonna take it a step further and ask,
Do you often find yourself feeling like a bunch of rotten bananas? Preach, what's up? And so, can I get some snaps? And so, the intention's good. Someone picks you up from the store and you get buried in the fruit basket under the mangoes, under the oranges, under the apples, and then someone finds you a couple weeks later and you're that. They're like, oh, this is not good. I should definitely not eat these, right? However, I want you to take it a step further. While this still looks pretty gross, you add in a few good pieces to it, right? You add in all the ingredients. You kind of beat it as you would get beaten by life. And then you add a little bit of heat to it, right? And I want you to consider the greatest growth period of probably all time is going from that mush to this glorious concoction. So you've got a banana chocolate chip muffin or banana bread, whatever you prefer. Forget lemons and lemonade. You can go from mushy, disgusting, rotten bananas into this edible thing. That's amazing. With the right heart, resources, effort, and support system, you too can become chocolate chip banana muffins. And so maybe your heart and maybe your effort, those are the utensils, that's the mixer, that's the oven, And maybe your resources and your support system, those are the ingredients that help build you into a solid, structured individual. The eggs, the sugar, the flour, they're gonna help make you to become something better than you could have ever been before. Lesson 3. So, if you look at this picture behind me, this was taken at my first job. I was 13 years old. And I lived in a small town. I didn't really have a lot of career opportunities, so I worked for my boss on her farm, and I was driving her tractor. It had a little mower attachment to the back of it, right? And I was doing so good. I was almost done, and I was so focused on putting it in reverse, not to run over the fence behind me, that I didn't pay attention to the large red barn in front of me. And I put a hole in the side of their very expensive barn that I'm pretty sure they were still making payments on. So that wasn't a fun discussion to have. But the lesson I want you to glean from this is that perfection does not exist. There is no such thing. Just let it go, If you find yourself wrecking into your boss's barn in the metaphor of life, I just want you to shake it out, Unclench your jaw and just laugh at yourself. You can't take yourself too seriously. I was listening to a Black Eyed Peas song, and I still hit this barn. And I think of it to this day every time I hear that song. So, while perfection doesn't exist, humility, joy, and humor do exist. And sometimes it's important to not take yourself so seriously and to stare longingly into the glass window like my roommate's cat here is doing. Just be what you are. Lesson 4, it is 10,000% okay to make mistakes and to feel discouraged. Like our friend here on this meme, unfortunately coming to the realization that in order to make any kind of money, you have to work for the rest of your life. And that sucks. Like, I would cry too. I do cry. However, whenever you feel discouraged, whenever you make a mistake, whenever you fail, I want you to think of the crouton. Yes, the crouton. So, while a fresh baked loaf of bread is great, everyone loves bread, sometimes it too gets forgotten on the table. Sometimes it gets a little stale, a little crunchy, a little gross. However, the bread that no one ate yesterday turns into the best part of the salad today. So I want you to shift that mindset and to think, okay, yes, I feel stale, and nobody should eat me as I am. But I'm the best part of the salad today. Every season is comeback season. And quite frankly, this is the expression that got me through organic chemistry. So just keep that in your mind. You fall on your face, you get left on the table. Every season is comeback season. Lesson 5. So, yes, I'm sure as a few fans, this is Jimmy, the office bamboo plant. He used to belong to a CLC alumni, and all of the previous office staff that have circulated through have taken it on, had taken it on to take care of Jimmy. And we would water him, make sure he was alive. And you could tell a great amount of care was put into Jimmy to make him into his little heart shape. He's in a cute little mason jar, like this big, this much soil, and he grew that big. That's incredible, right? He's comfortable. He's probably not gonna get much bigger than that. And so when the pandemic hit, I took Jimmy home with me and I gave him a makeover. And here's a little side-by-side of what Jimmy looks like now. The reason the pictures are all wonky is because I tried to get it to scale. But I put Jimmy in a bigger pot with some little polka dots so he feels pretty. I gave him some little decorative stones and some like a draining hole. And just look how much bigger he's gotten. His leaves are so much taller and fuller than they were before. And he's even growing little sprouts. Like, I'm not gonna cut the sprouts. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'm not going to. And the lesson I want you to glean from this is that you grow into where you are placed. So if you stay in your comfort zone, you stay in your room, whatever, you're gonna get good at it. You know, it's gonna feel fine. You're gonna have some growth, but only up to a point. If you put yourself out there and you push yourself to get into different leadership roles, into, you know, different jobs you never dreamed of applying for, you're gonna grow. You're gonna rise to the occasion, and you're gonna fill the space that you're put into. So be like Jimmy. Lesson 6, you got some cute grapes. This was taken at a vineyard in North Carolina when I was visiting Jessica. And I just want to ask, do you ever feel crushed under the weight of life? Probably yes. Do you feel like you're stuck in darkness and you don't think you're going to get out of it? You don't know how you're going to get out of it. I want you to learn from grapes in that in order to become one of the finest delicacies that people pay lots of money for, aka wine, you have to crush the grapes. And people, again, pay a lot of money for wine. So under that pressure, it becomes something incredible. And same with diamonds. Coal is just coal, but under the right amount of pressure over the right duration of time, it becomes diamonds. People pay thousands of dollars for that. So if you feel like you're crushed, you feel like you're under pressure, you feel like you're in darkness, it's because you're undergoing this incredibly powerful place of transformation. And like a seed in the darkness, it might feel like, okay, I'm covered in dirt. Like, this is terrible. What am I supposed to do with this? Oh, too much. Trust the process. By the way, the cupcakes have nothing to do with this message. My roommate made those for my birthday, and I thought they were pretty. But tying into the seed buried in dirt, the day you plant the seed is not the day that the seed grows, you know? And I just want to read this little post here. For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. However, those of us who understand growth and understand facing adversity know that these are the processes that we need to endure in order to become our true selves, our fullest potential. And so I want you to keep that in mind. When you feel like you're covered in dirt and you can't see anything and it kind of sucks, you're eventually going to grow your own roots, and you're going to develop your own leaves and your own flowers and your own blossoms to become the best person that you ever could have been. Lesson 8. Don't complain about having a lot on your plate when your goal was to eat. So I'll use myself as an example. Being in nursing school, I'm like in the middle of it, okay? Like, I'm doing clinicals several times a week for several hours a day. I'm studying for exams every week, and I have quizzes, and then group projects, and then work in school, and I'm supposed to take care of myself, and so it's just a lot. But I have to remember that while it's a lot, the position that I'm in right now was once a position that I prayed to be in. I fought to be in, I longed for it, I cried for it. I stayed up several hours in the library preparing for it. Drank many gallons of coffee, you know, and I made it. And by the grace of God, I'm here, and I'm doing what I wanted to do. And it's overwhelming, but I just have to remind myself that this was once what I wanted. And so I'll quickly read the quote. When you look back on your path through life, it's not many stumbling steps that you'll recall, but one great journey. Not consecutive defeats, but cumulative victory. Not that you were often lost, but that you always found your way. You won't see time wasted, but lessons learned, not the pain, but the wisdom, not the loss, but the recovery, not the droughts or the floods, but the rhythm of the seasons. You won't see the struggle, but its meaning, and that you are better now than you ever were before, and that's all that matters. This life is a marathon. It's not a sprint, unfortunately. So you have to learn to rest whenever you need it, not to give up. Lesson 9. I want you to take in all these beautiful flowers behind me. In the upper middle, that's my mom with a sunflower that's bigger than her head that she grew herself. She was very proud of it. Sunflowers are her favorite. And I want you to just recognize all the different colors and designs and all the different pieces of this, all these flowers. And I want you to think of this quote here, which this isn't the font I use, my bad. You would never think of a flower as being any less beautiful just because it looks different than another flower, right? You know. So why would you think of yourself that way? all of your freckles, your stretch marks, whatever color you are, your asymmetry, you know, it doesn't matter how full you are, how thin you are. It's what makes you you. And again, it ties into that piece of where you have your own unique individuality that you bring to the table, and you're beautiful in your own way. And so don't compare yourself to others, and don't compare others to, you know, other flowers, because you're all flowers and you're all beautiful. So with that, I want to say thank you for the best 4 years of my life. It's been an honor to get to spend the time that I have with all of you, and to have made all the memories and all the connections that I have, and just to get to know a lot of you better, and for you to get to know me and how weird I am and stuff. It's pretty cool. But thank you for indulging me and for letting me put the contents of my brain onto some PowerPoint slides. Oh.
From our random conversations in the front of the parking office to all the fun other conversations. We test my, train on my vitals. I appreciate that, and I've just always enjoyed the experience and hanging out with you and getting to know you a little bit better. And I really want to thank you for what you said there, because I struggle with self-care and rest a lot, and it's comforting and encouraging to hear you talk about it like that. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Shane. Sarah?
Like, I'll never forget the first time I met you when we both didn't read our chapter for a quiz for chem. It was first day of class, and just surviving chem together, Gen Chem 1 and Gen Chem 2, I would not have made it without you. The red Honda Accord and I am going to miss you so much.
You say that, but I literally could not have made it without you. Like, is Roxley here? We took Dr. Diaz's chemistry class, and Sarah's the only reason I made it through. So I love you.
So genuine, and I love spending time with you. Like, every time we're together, we're laughing, have the best time. Sometimes I feel bad for Trey because we deal with that with us in the office. But whatever we've done, like whether it's chem or working together or trying to study outside of school, which never works, we've just always had a blast. You have taught me so much, and I'm gonna miss you so much.
Oh, Sarah, I'm gonna miss you too. Thank you. Jace.
Emily, phenomenal presentation, by the way. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And also, like from like the little I've been here, it's like a little bit a full academic year now, but from little what I've garnered about everyone, I know that you're a diligent worker and put your heart and soul into everything you do. And I really appreciate that about you, and I would attribute a lot of my attention here at CLC to you. I remember a lot back in August, but I remember, I think, yeah, I can safely attribute a lot of my connection here to you, and like reaching out to me and helping me get connected with people, and I think of that a lot. It means a lot to me.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Jace.
I just wanted to say, Emily, you've been the greatest little mentor I could ever ask for in CLC. You made me introduce me to the program, and you feel so welcome. And just like walk with me through this crazy class and nursing school. I really appreciate having you by my side.
Oh, thank you, Grace. You definitely mentor me way more than I mentor you.
Well, hello everyone. So for my senior talk, I'll be presenting on the 3 main lessons I learned throughout my college career. And I know these lessons are kind of personal. Well, they're all personal. So yeah. The first lesson I learned about myself was identity. So a lot of people mispronounce my name, but the 2 most common mispronunciations of my name Arzano and Zeno. And for those of you who actually don't know how to pronounce my name is pronounced Zino. And before I get into this name crisis that I went through my junior year, I want to share the origins of my name. So initially my parents wanted to name me Zainab, which is a really popular Middle Eastern name and it holds a lot of value in our community. However, my parents noticed that a lot of American people were having a hard time pronouncing the name Zainab. So my dad came up with the name Zino, being only 2 syllables, Zai and No. My dad figured that it'd be a lot easier for people to pronounce. Ironically though, people still say my name wrong. And for the longest time, it didn't bother me if people mispronounced my name, just because people that would continue to mispronounce my name were people that I was just acquaintances with versus my established friends and people that I had good relationships with. They would always put in more time to actually pronounce my name. And that's kind of the mindset that I had, which is why it didn't bother me who was mispronouncing my name. However, this mindset changed my junior year. So my junior year, I had a couple of my friends from Boulder come down so we can go mountain biking together. And so we met on campus, and I'm an RA on campus, so I happen to know a decent amount of residents that live there. And so we were walking around campus, and I waved at my resident, and he waved back, and I think he pronounced my name like Zongo or something. It was really off. So he was like, "Hi, Zongo," and I knew he was referring to me, because like, who else? So I was like, "Hi," and my friends just like, since then, they started calling me Zongo or Zango, and it really started bothering me, so I called them out on it. And one of my friends, Julian's, made me realize that I kind of created this double standard on who I'm okay with like mispronouncing my name. And she was right, I did create this double standard. And it made me realize that I was wrong for doing that. It made me realize just how much my name is tied to my identity. It's one of the first things people get to know about me is my name, and I should be proud of that and embrace it. And so it made me realize just moving forward, I need to be more patient so people can learn to pronounce my name correctly and get to know me as who I am. I'm not Zeno, I'm not Zano, I'm not Zango, I'm Zino, and I should be proud of that. So the second lesson I learned was to listen to my gut. This one kind of goes back to my senior year in high school. So senior year in high school, I didn't think I would actually be in college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I met with my advisor, and she had me take multiple personality tests, because the idea was the test would tell us what kind of person I am, and from there she can help me find a degree to major in, because she really wanted me to go to college. And so I took these tests, and a lot of the things that kept coming up were like helping people and like being a charitable person. So she recommended 2 broad degrees for me, which was like medical and criminal justice. And I didn't want to do anything in medical because body fluids are really gross. And so I was like, I guess I'll do criminal justice, why not? So I took her recommendation, and I start my freshman year, and I'm taking these intro level classes. And I just like, I'm sitting there and I hate them, and my stomach feels really sick. And I just thought initially it's because like I'm too sensitive right now, and like over time I'll become like less sensitive to criminal justice related material. But junior year starts, and I have this one professor, Professor Whalen, and he's a really well-rounded person. He had a lot of different careers and did a lot of things, but he was basically like a spy. And instead of doing classwork, we would just listen to his stories a lot because he liked to talk. And so all of his stories were like really interesting to like hear, but then you had to realize that it was like real. Like he actually did all of the things that he was talking about, and it kind of scared me. And he would always justify his behavior when he had to take someone's life, saying it's me or the other guy going home. And it just like, I remember I started crying one day in his class because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is real. This is like actually real, that this guy did all these things that he's talking about. It's not like on the TV or anything. And it made me realize that the reason why I was feeling so sick in my stomach wasn't because I was sensitive. It was because I could never be a person that would I have my own moral values, and I don't think I'd ever want to compromise that, and I don't think I'd be in good terms with myself knowing that I was the reason that someone didn't get to go home. Because I think everyone should be able to get to go home. And so it made me realize that criminal justice actually might not be for me. So I was kind of stuck thinking like, oh God, it's junior year, I need to graduate, what am I gonna do? And so I met with another advisor, and she was like, why don't you like make a list in my office, and like I'll call you back. And so she had me make a list of things that I enjoyed doing, and there were things like mountain biking, backpacking, hiking with my dog, kayaking, urban exploring, and rock hunting. And I'm like, wow, all these things have to just do with like being outside. So like she told me to come back to her office, but I never did because I was like, I think I figured it out. I know what I need to do. So I went into my degree audit and I changed my focus from criminal justice to environmental studies and geography because it made me realize that I really do have a passion for being outside and doing things with like nature. And from there, when I started taking environmental classes, I felt more happy with myself and more content. And I think I would have never felt that way if I hadn't listened to my gut and really realized what it was that was making me feel the way that I was at that time. And I think that's really important because I'm not a biologist or anything, but we all evolved with having our gut. So if something doesn't sit right, it might be worth exploring why that might be. And I included some photos of my hobbies. And I think the coolest photo here is of that rock right there. So this was from a rock show way before COVID, I think 2016 in Denver. This guy brought his like rock collections. I really love rocks, so it was really fun to go see it. And I almost went to the bank to finance this rock. It was $64,000, and I remember telling my dad that he needed to co-sign a loan for me, and he was like, "You're crazy, that's not happening." I'm like, "Please, this is like the only thing," because it looks so cool, but one of these days, I'll have my own rock collection. And actually, one of the first times I hung out with Gwen, we actually went to this tower. I do a lot of urban exploring, which is, if you don't know what it is, you basically just get lost in like whatever you find, it's exploring. So I happened to find this place down, it's not far from here, it's like 15 minutes down the road by this like hike that's like not on a map, and that was really fun. So my last lesson is keep falling. So initially, I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about for my senior talk, so I texted a lot of my friends, and I'm like, y'all, what should I talk about? Because I don't know what to talk about. I'm an awkward person. I don't really have much to say. And they're like, well, maybe you should talk about all the times you fall, because like you happen to do that a lot, and you're really good at it. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be offended or not, but I am going to talk about it. So I happen to fall every time I'm doing something new, or if it's something that I've been doing for years. And I know falling isn't like fun and all, but something that I realized from falling is that it's a pretty good indication that you're taking risk and you're challenging yourself. And I think everyone should be able to take risks because you shouldn't be scared to fall, and falling actually teaches you a lot more than you think. And yeah. And a fun fact about me, I have broken 7 of my bones, and they have been caught on camera, but I didn't want to put that on here just because that'd be really gross. So I have my most recent injury, and then a picture of my friends helping me after I fell down a cliff, which was really hard. Okay. But so my most recent injury, over COVID, I tried to learn how to like dirt jump because I thought I could do it. And I can, just not down the XL line. So I like broke my middle finger, and now she's forever messed up. She like bends back all the way. So that's my hand. And then I included a photo of 2 of my friends that have like always been there for me after each fall. But that's all I had. Gwen. Gwen! Hi.
I'm so proud of you. Also, I freaking love that, like, the beginning of our relationship was urban exploring.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, Zana's so cool. Zana would be like, you wanna come find this abandoned house? I saw on Google Maps, and they're like, yeah! And we'd show up, and there'd be a camera, and we'd be like, and be like, all right, you wanna go on the storm drain? And Zana's like, yeah! So, just absolutely awesome.
Thanks, Gwen.
I'm so proud of you. I know you've like gone through so much.
Thank you.
Through the journey of getting your degree, and you've just done an amazing job.
Thanks. Brittany.
That was a really good talk, and I love that you shared the falling thing and breaking bones, because it just makes me think of the time I told you something really personal, and then you went, do you want to find that too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was at the same week, too.
No, but it's
Thanks. Thank you. Ryan. Hi.
I'm just so proud of you for, I know if I didn't like my major junior year, there would be no chance in hell that I would change it because I don't have that type of courage. And I just really value that in you. And every interaction we've had, you're just so genuine and so uplifting. And I'm so glad that you're following your passion.
Thank you. Salone.
So I need to go. I know back to the very first CLC that I met before I was CLC director, so I had to see it first. So I feel like it's special. But I also think one thing that I love about you is just being true authenticity. Like, no matter what, like, one-on-one in a class, like, how are you? Like, this is how I'm feeling. You're like not coming in, like, it's okay. Like, I guess your ability to be authentic, ask for help, and question those kinds of things, and truly be like falling the gap, but like surrounding yourself with people who can help do that with you is such a wise thing to be having at age. And so you're so proud of what you've done in the last few years in that, and all of the things that you've had to walk through these last years especially, and just kind of what you're coming out of it, and beautiful things that are fun to really exciting.
Thank you.
Just really quick, I want to like agree with what Sloan said. And I think it's funny how your presentation you said you have a lot to say. And like the first time I met you was like right after the retreat a couple of years ago when you just like started talking. And like you just like got to know you within like 5 minutes. And you were telling me about you and why you were at UCCS and if you like getting older and being here.
Oh, yeah.
The whole life story, and I was like, wait, am I right? You asked me like about me and how long I've been in the program and like how I got here and stuff, and then we had a class together and then we had all these like really good conversations. And so I just like agree with what Swan said about how authentic you are and how like you just kind of like let it like all out and say like you don't like hide yourself or anything. Like just now you got up on stage and you started talking and like we all just like got to know you like so quickly because you're not afraid to just like show who you are just like right off the bat.
Thanks, Asia. I do remember that talk. You waited for me until my mom came. Yeah. She forgot about me. I remember your mom was all like, honey, do you need a ride? I was like, no, my mom should be here. It like took her 6 hours. I was like, I literally could have walked home. But yeah.
Hi, everyone. Always wondered what it would be like to see this, and it's just kind of weird, if I'm being honest. Before I begin, can we, like, clap some more for all the last presentations that have happened? Also, before I begin, it's a bit more of a personal question. Who's a sweater in terms of, like, any athletic thing, like a profuse amount over the normal person? Sweet. So I'm in common company, because this might, yeah, it's already started. So yeah, there, I have now created an icebreaker, and now we're all good, hopefully. But yeah, so tonight I'll be talking a little bit about just sort of my journey from, yeah, you'll get to see some really ugly baby pictures of me. Or not, they're not ugly, but they're, yeah, you'll see, embarrassing, I'll say. All the way up until who I am today, a couple of life lessons I've learned along the way, and obviously some pretty cool people that I've met as well. And before I begin, yeah, it's been an amazing ride, and I'm so thankful to have met all of you. So, yeah, I'll get into it now. So I'll start with when I was little. That's both of these are probably two of my favorite pictures ever. So I was born. If you didn't know this, it's a really random fact, but I was actually born in Kansas, lived there for 1 month, and then moved to Salida, Colorado, where I have been raised ever since. Obviously, sports have been a huge part of my life. Sport management is my degree, Alex, I know, woo woo. Oh, God. But yeah, from a really young age, involved in sports. I super close with my family. Yeah, I mean, it taught me a lot about resilience, hard work, teamwork, your super cliche things. And it was really an escape for me to kind of express myself, which I'll talk about even more in a little bit. But yeah, growing up, I had a great childhood as far as like what home life was like. I don't know. It was just a really good childhood as far as, also my glasses keep fogging up, which is really nice with masks. But yeah, overall, great childhood, learned a lot. This part, obviously, don't remember too well, so I obviously don't have a lot to say about it. But next up, we're going to jump to high school, actually. Still playing sports, still. I did basketball, football, and track my all 4 years, and I absolutely loved every minute of it. Met tons of cool people, and it's so interesting in high school, you don't recognize that some of the people you're playing against or even with, you could eventually go to the same college as. So I've met tons of people here that I mean, playing in Colorado, you're like, I will probably never see these people again, hopefully. But then you'll see them like in the dining hall and you're like, I know you. And then now you have a new friend and yeah, you just didn't expect that. But yeah, I would say high school was a lot of me trying to like find myself with, and these were two things that I used a lot of in terms of like trying to find out who I was going to be. So sports, obviously, like I said, which was kind of a double-edged sword. You get like I'm a dumb jock kind of stereotype, which is always nice. I remember first time I ever met Jacqueline, she told me this months later when we were like very good friends together. We like did accounting all the time together. But she was like, I honestly took you for like a very dumb, just like average run-of-the-mill jock. And obviously I have much more layers to me than that, hopefully that you guys agree. But yeah, she was like, yeah, you're not at all who I thought you were, which I think is a compliment. I don't know. Maybe first impressions are just not my thing. But yeah, then the picture on the right was a community that I was a part of called Young Life that was super influential throughout my high school career, eventually becoming a leader in it, and just getting to mentor all of these kids. I've done a little bit of work in college as well, going back and helping, but high school was, yeah, a very, I would say, confusing time because it was just full of a lot of ups and downs, as I'm sure all of your high school experiences were, but overall a great experience. And now we'll get into high school. Obviously a ton of different friend groups for me personally. I mean, they range anywhere from UCCS athletes to, I mean, you guys. I mean, there's like so many different types of people that I now love so much and have so many different interactions with. However, college has been a little bit of a bumpy ride as well, similar to high school, in which because I had so many different people I was hanging out with, it was almost like I had to change personalities when I was with certain groups of them. And over the course of these last 3 years, it's become apparent to me who I want to be and who I should be hanging out with more, which is one of the lessons I'll talk about at the end. But yeah, I would just say that it's been an amazing journey as far as meeting all these people, but definitely clarified the thing that I wanted to talk about in high school of who do you want to be and who are you looking to become in the future. And so, yeah, that also, have any of you guys seen the Vine about the Wicked Wiener? Yeah, well, if you don't know what it looks like, that's what it looks like grown up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing in that, but next up, CLC. This has been probably the biggest part of my college career. I mean, all of you guys mean so much to me, and you guys teach me something new every day. I think I'm going to try and make, like, let's be a crouton or something like that, a phrase that's common now. I don't know. But yeah, this group of people has just been absolutely amazing and influential, and I know I could go to almost every single one of you, and you could teach me something, give me some advice that I would hold on to for the rest of my life, honestly. So thank you guys for that. And in conclusion, that I took I took that picture on the first day of school this year that my mom wanted. I was like, okay, I'll humor you, just give you a second. But yeah, I'll leave you guys with 3 lessons that I've learned, primarily from college, just really throughout my life. First one is make sure you are aware of who you're around, because, I mean, you are the 5 people you hang out with. Either you currently are or you will eventually become that. So just be aware of who you spend all of your time with. Next lesson would be to make sure you're dreaming for super big things, similar to the bamboo plant that Emily mentioned a little bit ago. I have a different example, so sharks will actually grow to whatever size they're held within, up to a certain point, obviously. Thank God, because ocean-sized sharks would be insane. And I've learned this, but I mean, I've always wanted to see like a tiny shark that has grown full size because of the container it was put in, and be like super tiny, but yeah, whatever. That I'll move on. But yeah, basically, don't limit yourself based on your own limitations, beliefs, or ones that people put on you. Just really shoot for the stars, and or shoot for the moon, and well, you know what I mean. Shoot for whatever. You guys have heard it plenty, I know. In preparing for this, I looked up so many like commencement speeches, fables, books. Yeah, so I was really psyching myself out. So you know what? I was like, I'm gonna do a leadership journey thing, and that'll be it. But yeah, that was one of the fables that I found. I probably watched Ronan's Water is Clear, is that correct? This is Water, yeah. Obviously didn't watch it enough. I watched it 4 times, which is like a super famous commencement speech. I'd highly recommend all you watch it, but yeah, that's all I have for you guys. But yeah, basically just don't take life too seriously. That's my last lesson. It's just, as everybody has said in their previous presentations, don't take life too seriously, and all of us are unique in our own ways. So don't ever feel like you are lagging behind anybody else, or are indifferent in any way. We're all on our own journey, and that's basically what the last 3 years have taught me. I know an extra year would definitely help based on where I'm at now, but I know that I'm just still a work in progress. So yeah, that's my senior talk, everybody. Oh yeah, gosh. Go ahead, Ronan.
I want to say I appreciate you. I could, man, all the memories and like all the times you made me laugh over the last three years. Just appreciate those times. And just glad I kind of met someone that's on the same wavelength as me. I feel like we can goof around, but then we can also talk about taking over the world. So excited to see where you go, and just so glad to see you.
Yeah, we will be taking over the world shortly. Yeah. Shane, go ahead.
Well, the past couple of years between all the CLC events, whether it's service events, stuff here on campus, where the case may be, I've always found this really unique calming effect whenever I would hang around you. Because like you say, you have this ability to draw humor out of the simplest of things. And it was always nice because I always felt like I'd come to the event stressed out, like I was dressed wrong, right?
Yeah.
And I would just sit and talk to you, just joke around a little bit. You always have this
Yeah, I was about to say that. Oh, so Shay, whatever. Yeah. However you end it, we're both gonna look. So, yeah. True. Yes. We all across seminar, we just be like, "You look too, didn't you?" But thank you, Brad.
All right, so it's not kind of similar though. The first interaction that I remember with you was at the first part of the retreat, our freshman year, and Shane introduced himself. He said, "Oh, great, everyone's going to call me Shane." But you have absolutely been Shane, true and true. I miss you a lot at admissions. You're a great tour guide, but your residents are very lucky to have you now.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely miss giving tours with you, Brad. Alex.
So I remember at your interview day, it was like, there's this kid you have to meet, he's gonna study sport management.
And
they
hang
spent the entire day trying to put the two of us together.
And to any of you freshmen that don't know, sport management has a horrible rap in CLC.
It's the best major on campus.
Yeah, it is, but that's why also.
And I just remember from those conversations we had every day, this is gonna be someone that's going to be in the program. I've had a lot of growing to do. And getting to be your mentor and have be in the same program as you and hear about your classes and all of that, and watching you go through that growing process has just been an amazing experience for me. And I hope it was as great for you.
Yeah, I remember like a couple weeks after retreat, we went to coffee, and yeah, I was like, this is like, I don't know, but I have to like hold the sport management, like the load of it, because it is a big burden in CLC. Chloe.
It's really sad that you and Vernon are both graduating at the same time because you have like boosted self-esteem and it's also nice to be someone who's so personable, and I think you're going to go really far in life because of that, because you're really with people and you're funny, so it's good.
I think that's the first time you've ever complimented me, so thank you. And never again. Yeah, I won't expect one. Thank you.
One thing that I really appreciated you, like about you, is just how hard you work. I think anyone in this room, like, if you bring something up to Shade, like, hey, I really like yoga, he's gonna be like, oh my gosh, we research it. Like, find everything out about yoga, just to help you. And I just really value that, and how much you take care of yourself and the people that you love. So I'm proud of you, and you're doing great.
Thank you.